Hi, this is Steve Froud, and this is part 2 in a series of videos on how to play Kingmaker, the solo challenge. If you've not watched the first video, I strongly recommend that you go and do so now. And in the previous video, I played through the setup right to the end of the event phase of player's first turn. And in the current video, I pick up again from that point and take you through the next few turns to illustrate key rules of the solo game. My 2023 version of Kingmaker arrived just as I finished filming, so you'll notice in this video that I'm using prototype components. So, let's get to it. So we move to player's movement phase. A couple of restrictions here. Bot is always hostile, and therefore player will want to avoid getting his ships caught into bot-owned ports. And also bot will never allow player to move through bot controlled fortifications when moving down the road. Okay, such as through York. Okay, so first turn, the ship of Plymouth is just going to go here just to be available. Similarly, these ships are going to distribute themselves around the coast to pick up any leftover nobles that get isolated. Courtenay is going to move as fast as he can towards London. And Hastings and Stafford are going to join him, hoping for a free move card. So that all three of them will arrive in London next turn. May not get away with it. Clifford's a bit out on a limb here, and he cannot actually escape away from this big stack. So he's going to make a run to the north, right into the Cheviot Hills, to at least get out of range of this thing, leaving just Percy within range. So that then is player's move. So then if there was any, we would have player's combat phase, parliament phase, coronation phase. They don't apply, so we move to player's end of turn phase. Player takes a card, gets a chance to look at it. 10 mercenaries, bit worried about Clifford, so he's going to give it to Courtenay. And that is the end of player's first turn. So now we'll move to bot's second turn of the game, and I will shift away from using the rules to using the game turn bot player aid, and we'll work through this. Event phase, bot will take a card. It's a free move. Because bot hangs on to that, a second card is not taken. Move to the movement phase. Reveal crown cards. What you do in this phase is to roll a die, and if the number achieved is less than the number of cards that bot currently has in bot's hand, then you will reveal them and award them similarly to what we did before. Since there's only one card, you cannot roll less, so we'll skip that phase. So we move on to target selection. Now, target selection, we use the target selection bot player aid that we used before, and just run down these. Defend the king. So the bot will ensure that the king is in the largest bot stack. Well, he is already. Defend the chancellor. Bot doesn't have chancellor. Take control of a single crowned royal piece. There are now 2 crowned royal pieces. Take control of the senior royal piece of the house currently on the mainland of England and Wales. Well, that would be Henry VIII. Can he get to London this turn? Shrewsbury and Newark are stopping him using the roads. It's too far, so therefore he will not be trying to get Henry this turn. Summon Parliament. Doesn't have a ripped card. Crown a royal piece. Already done that. So moving to page 2. If bot does not control a royal piece, well, he does. The next item 8 is only on turn 1. Item 9, attack player besiege or battle at majority odds or better a single player noble with at least 80 troops or a stack of 2. So Clifford can be reached by Percy. Percy has 150 troops, Clifford has less than that. So that is the first target. Percy can reach him. Does he have appropriate control? That's not applicable. Does Bot have enough troops for combat, for a battle? Well, that's where this little ready reckoner that I recommend that you keep comes into play. So Clifford has 90 troops and Percy has 150, so quite clearly he has majority. Is this move too risky? So what we do is we have a look now at the combat selection bot player aid. Very easy to use. You add up the number of troops, we just did that, and work your way across this table. So Bot is initiating battle and the odds here are 3 to 2. So we're in this column here and you look up how many troops player could bring to this location where the battle will be next turn. Now the rest of players' troops have just abandoned Clifford in the north, so the answer is less than Percy will have there. So less than majority against 3 to 2. The result is battle, which means go ahead and perform the battle. So Clifford then is the target for this turn. Returning to the bot player aid, take control of an accessible royal piece. Now, this may apply because we have Stanley here, very close to George of Clarence, who is in an open town. So George of Clarence can be reached by Stanley. George of Clarence is not the target. He's not the most senior royal piece of a house. Bot controls a royal piece in a different house? No, this does not apply. The next item is to put nobles into play and award crown cards. Having selected a target, had any crown cards been revealed from the earlier die roll, this is where nobles would have been put on the board and any other revealed cards would have been awarded. But as no crown cards have been revealed, back to the bot player aid, move to the target. So the only noble that can reach is Percy, who moves up there to attack Clifford. Then you move the bot stack with the greatest troop strength, if it has not yet moved, as close as possible. There's only one place it can reach, and that is adjacent. Richard of York will go up there as well. Move titled and untitled nobles that can reach this stack. There. Well, none of them can reach that have not already moved. In fact, the only ones that have not moved now are Stanley and De Vere. Stanley is an untitled bot noble who will now move by land, ignoring the presence of player troops, and he'll try and get as close as he possible to that stack up there. So that's one, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then we move titled bot nobles on land. Now, if you remember, De Vere had a problem getting up here before because he was at risk of being attacked by Hastings and Stafford. Now, we need to determine if he's got a route through that enables him to march north. So I will just mark up the areas that Hastings and Stafford can reach. So that's as far as they can reach. Can De Vere get through? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, he can. So De Vere will move as close as possible, but not leave himself in this area where he's at risk. And that is the end of Bot's land movement. So then we move on to moving ships. Well, the ships now are both empty, and because the Bot stack with the greatest number of troops is north of the River Trent, those ships will move as close as they can to the sea off the Isle of Wight. So that one can't reach, but just moves as close as it can. So that then completes Bot movement, and we can move on to combat. So we will take a card. The odds are 3 to 2, and we are looking to see. Oh, you gotta love Kingmaker. Bad weather delays attack, and Clifford gets to fight or run away another day. So continuing with Bot's turn then, there is no Parliament phase. Bot doesn't have a writ, and there is no coronation phase. He's already crowned Richard. We move to the end of turn phase. Very simply, we take another card from the crown deck, don't look at it, put it down here. And that is the end of Bot's turn 2. So, player turn 2. First thing we do before we make too many plans is have a look at the event card. Embassy. Well, there are 2 kings, so that doesn't apply. So because the first card didn't do anything, we take a second card. Warden of the Cinque Ports to Rye. Okay, well, the Warden of the Cinque Ports is Stafford with 2 ships. So that's the French getting in the way of players' plans. Poor old Clifford up the top here survived that, but the best thing he can do is probably just run away down the west coast. Well, if they're going to lose Clifford, then players are going to have a go at Stanley to see where, at least try and even up the troop losses. Okay, then fortunately they do have control of the roads, so yeah, Stafford's going to go to Shrewsbury. The 2 ships just going to spread themselves out where they can do the most if they are needed. And that is player's move in its entirety. Take a new crown card. Talbot, the Earl. Oh, wonderful for a player here. So he's gained another noble. Talbot. Player has certain restrictions. He can only reveal cards basically at Parliament or in his own end of turn phase, which is where we are right now. There are various other restrictions on player as well. Bot will never let him go through his fortifications if they are blocking the road. Bot will never allow players' ships to leave a bot-controlled port. Furthermore, player can only place noble cards and award crown cards from player's hand during setup, during a Parliament called by player, or during player's end of turn phase. Player may only transfer cards during player's end of turn phase and at Parliament. However, offices cannot be transferred at a Parliament called by bot, and titles may never be transferred. Lastly, player may only hold a maximum of 3 move cards. If you receive any more, I'm afraid you have to give them to bot. And if a player controls a royal piece, he doesn't at the moment, but if he does, and it's the most senior royal piece in a family, if it's been Bot's target on the previous turn, he cannot take it to C. That came out of a bit of play testing where we tried to break the game by putting a royal piece here and a royal piece here, and we merrily had Bot doing a dance running between the two. So that's a restriction to prevent the ping pong tactic, as it became called. If an embassy does call away a king controlled by Bot, then the rules will tell you what to do, as it will if a Bot stack gets split up as well. Again, if you want to call a parliament by Bot or player, the rules will tell you how that is performed. Okay, so that is the end of player's turn, other than he is going to pick up Talbot and he is going to put him on the map because he's relatively safe there. And he's got no additional cards to be given to him. So that is the end of player's second move. So we move to Bot's third turn. Again, working our way down the sequence of play. First up is the event phase. Peasant Revolt, Mowbray to Framlingham, Marshal of England to Blackheath, neither of whom are in play. Take a second card because that had no impact. Embassy for the king. There are two kings. That has no effect. You do not draw a third card. Movement phase. Reveal cards from Bot's hand. This may happen now. We have to throw under the number of cards. We needed a 1. We got a 6. Bot does not reveal his hand. So it's back to choosing what is the best target for Bot this turn. Now, after you play the game a few times, you'll begin to learn the target selection player aid, and you'll be able to just pick things up pretty much. And so I know immediately what's going to happen here, but I'll run you down. So defend the king, he's defended. Defend the chancellor, doesn't have it. Take control of single crown royal piece, can't get there. Take control of a senior royal piece, he's already got. He can't get there. Parliament, crown or royal piece. If Bot does not control a royal piece, turn 1 only, attack player. Here we are again, it's going to be Clifford, but in a much stronger position. So, again, if you work down the player aid, we're in the movement phase, but I'm just going to go down it. So fairly obviously, these guys can all reach Clifford. So does he have enough troops for combat? Easily. However, just a quick check on the numbers. So it's everybody on Bot's side apart from Stanley. So there'll be 430 will be against Clifford's 90. So that's at least 4 to 1. So if we use the combat player aid, as we did before, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, another 30 could join in. So whatever happens, players never going to be able to get enough troops there to get more than less than majority. Now Bot is up to over 4 to 1. 4 to 1, less than majority, battle, go ahead. This chart, by the way, was developed using lots of probabilities and possible outcomes from combat, which is why when the various areas, there's clearly a go ahead, there's don't do it, and there's, well, it could be useful, in which case there's a die roll modifiers to see what Bot will actually do. But Bot will definitely be choosing that as the target. Clifford again. So it's not at risk. The target has been selected. It's going to be Clifford. Put nobles into play. Not put into play. And so we move the bot stack, currently with the highest strength, to the target, and it can now reach. So off they go. Move titled and untitled nobles to the bot stack. If they can't get to the target, well, Percy can get to the target, so he goes there as well. Whoa, not looking good, Clifford. Move remaining untitled bot nobles on land. Now, Stanley's got a problem. He's outnumbered. He will not move to an area where he's outnumbered. It's called at risk. So he is now cannot get through. So he's back to using his ship again. And ship Rye stays there because the bot stack is right at the top. Okay, so that is the end of bot's movement. We move into combat phase. So what are the odds? So we have Clifford with 90 troops against everybody except Stanley, 430, that's at least 4 to 1. So bot has a 4 to 1 attack now on Clifford. And it's a success. It would have been an success at any odds. So Clifford is now captured. Oh, Neville has been killed. That is going to be distressing for bot. And I will now remove Neville's cards and markers from the board. Bot will immediately execute Clifford, and again I will now remove all of those pieces as well.
Whoa, remove Neville, remove Clifford, take all of their pieces off the board. Cards to Chancery, cards to Crown Deck.
Okay, player turn 3. So I've adjusted the numbers here. Player now has 310 total troops, bot's 380, so the gap has closed with player gaining troops and bot just losing them.
Now, but this video is becoming longer than I intended, so I'll split it on that cliffhanger, and I'll make a third and final video following this game into a parliament called by bot and how to win. This is Steve Froud saying, see you in part 3 of how to play Kingmaker, the solo challenge.